Hi, in this video, we're gonna talk about Newton's law. And in case you don't know who Newton is, he's the guy who discovered gravity when objects are pulled toward each other. And he also discovered the three laws of motion, which is called the Newton law or the Newton law of motion. And that's what we're going over today. Let's get started. As law number 1, it states that object in motion stay in motion and object at rest stay at rest. This law is pretty obvious if you're like playing some kind of sport that involves throwing things. For example, a bowling. As you move the bowling or spin it, it is very hard to spin due to object at rest stay at rest. It's not because just of gravity here, but it's also because it has its own mass. And mass specifically do not want to change because change requires some potential and in form of potential energy. So you're exhausting potential energy to convert it into kinetic energy. Now, so that group it change need energy. But so the more mass, the more tiny changes in it. So in this case, the bowling have a lot of mass. So it's pretty hard to change, especially with gravity here. It's very heavy too. And if you throw it like that, it will keep moving until it hit the other side and get into these stick thingies or something like that. A peck. They knock down the peck and then it'll roll over to the tunnel or something. So, as you could see here, as you throw it, it keeps staying in motion until it hit this thing and then roll down here. That doesn't matter really. So, object in motion stay in motion. As this, you given a potential energy and somehow it need to change. It keeps changing. And it like that way. Because, why? It's changing. So, nobody like that. But it's the only choice it have. If you try to stop it, it have to change into another way and stop. But if you keep moving, it's like it doesn't change. As it stops, you're giving it a different potential by knocking it back. Or if you fly backward, it takes even more energy. So, that just summarizes it. Object in motion stay in motion. It go all the way. And object at rest stay at rest. And yes, that's it for the first law. Now move on to the second law. As you can see here, the equation says force equal mass times acceleration. That's just saying that force is depend on either mass or acceleration. If you increase mass, the force will sure increase. If you increase acceleration, the force will also increase. So let me experiment here. If you increase the mass give more inertia. That's what we call up here, where object in motion stay in motion, is called inertia. So let's call that from now on. It'll get more inertia. It'll get more inertia. Because it's higher mass, so it's all the big mass just want to stay that way, resulting a bigger force. Just say inertia. Inertia is a type of force. And so if you throw this thing, it will get inertia, adding to the force. Yeah, done with the mass. Now, which means the mass also increase acceleration. Just an outside information. If acceleration increases, is the input energy, you take it harder to throw the ball harder. And so the ball will, of course, have more kinetic energy, which adds up to the total net force. The force just the impact. Yeah. How much more do I have to explain for number 2? None. So let's move on to number 3. Where is it? Oh, it's all the way over here? Damn, I destroyed it. Just say here. Third, what is this symbol? Yeah, it's really long to write, so I made this symbol. If a force hit a mass, something that have mass, then mass gonna use the same force to cancel out that force. More like if force hit a mass, that mass will use its own mass to create an equal force that will be able to cancel out the original force. The reason it's using an equal force because like 5 minus 5 equals 0. So the universe do not want to waste energy. So if you push on something, it'll push back with equal force. And in this case, you will think that make impossible to push anything. But the third law, you have to think outside the box. It doesn't happen all the time. What I mean of not all the time is if you push on something, it'll push back, right? But it will have a limited energy equal to pushing back. If this energy gets so large, the mass couldn't hold it and will have to lose. Because all of this energy basically depend on mass and friction. Friction is something that uses energy to oppose something that uses energy against it. So for example, here's a box. You push on it, it'll push back with the same energy, right? This box, let's say, have very little friction, or your foot have very high friction. And you might be able to push the box because this friction here, as you push against the ground have a very high friction against you. Because, like I said, for example, your foot have very high friction. And if it push against your foot, you have a boost of energy, and you might be able to push the box, while there's nothing to boost the box back. So yeah, that's the 3 law of motion. And if you like my video, subscribe, like, and thanks for watching.